573-875-KTGR. The Big Show starts now.
You bet it does. Welcome into Friday's edition of The Big Show on your total sports station, KTGR. We're back in our usual form, in not just the online-only form, but in every avenue form. Brendan, feel fully operational again.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to producer Natalie as well, helping us out today. And boy, oh boy, portal season has begun for Mizzou. And it's like
the intrigue might be over, actually. In a lot
the biggest
of ways,
question might be answered now. Who knows? But we'll get to the news that just broke within the last hour about who Mizzou is reportedly targeting in the transfer portal at QB. We'll get to that in a few minutes. We'll talk to Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com about all things NFL betting at 425. We'll talk about the CFP quarterfinals last couple of days. First three games, they were fine. The last one, though, was awesome between Ole Miss and Georgia. Get your thoughts on that. We'll also get our thoughts on, Mizzou basketball. They are still playing. They haven't played in a while, though. They haven't played in more than a week and a half. But they start SEC play tomorrow against, defending national champion, Florida Gators. Come to town.
Easy, no problem.
Hey, you know what?
Perfect.
It's a cinch. There was positive injury news for Mizzou hoops that Dennis Gates updated on today, so we'll get to that at 5:25. And picks of the week are back at 5:45. So lots here on the show. You can join us with a call or a text at 573-875-KTGR. Tweet us at KTGR Big Show. We're live on YouTube right now, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. Also live on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
Today is the first day that the transfer portal is open, and it seems that Mizzou has already found, reportedly, a strong target for its quarterback room. Pete Thamel of ESPN reported just within the last hour that Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons plans to enter the transfer portal per source. He's entering with a no-contact tag with Missouri as the favorite to land him. He's expected to stay with Ole Miss through the college football playoff. Simmons, of course, started the year for Ole Miss, was injured, then they turned to Trinidad Chambliss, and he looked excellent, so they kept with him the rest of the year. So even when Simmons got healthy, he was not able to return to the starting job. That's how good Chambliss was. And so it seems that Simmons looking for a new place to land, and it seems that that place he's going to land is most likely, according to the reporting, Missouri. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this second day of January 2026. Happy New Year, everybody. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Like, we were ready to talk about, should they go after DJ Lagway? Because that was a report out there. Lagway is including him or including Missouri in the schools that he's considering. There's the Kennesaw State quarterback. Well, it looks pretty good, honestly.
I still kind of want him. Like, yeah. I don't know what this is going to be. We knew Mizzou had to get a guy. And if you think about getting multiple guys, then you're like, well, what happens to Matt Zollers? So, like, I would say at this point, the most likely outcome, and Pete Nakos reported Missouri is the only school to watch in this recruitment. Okay,
all right.
Austin Simmons is going to Mizzou, guys. That seems pretty clear.
Yeah.
For the second consecutive year, Eli Drinkwitz taking a backup quarterback from a team that makes the semifinal of the college football playoff. It was the case with Bo Pribula and Penn State last year. Now it's Austin Simmons, and look, if you look at his production, there wasn't a lot of it this year. Only started a couple of games before that injury. I think he had on the season 4 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. And so, like, in a lot of ways, I don't know that this gentleman is guaranteed to be more effective or more ready to handle this job than Matt Zollers. But I would say he probably has a slight leg up when you think about, okay, Ole Miss at least thought he won their quarterback battle to begin their season. They had this Trinidad Chambliss guy who, he might have been the Heisman had he started the whole year. I don't know. But I would say that they at least thought, okay, for a team that's trying to make the college football playoff, this guy is going to be our starter this year at the beginning, whereas Matt Zollers was supposed to be the third quarterback on Mizzou, and so he wasn't really supposed to play this year. I don't know what to make of it. I'm glad they're getting somebody. We knew they'd have to do that. I'm excited, but I'm also a little hesitant because there's not really proven production here with this player.
Can we be clear as to what the category is for this?
What is it?
Like the category is this is a guy to come in and compete with Matt Sowers, right?
I don't think there's any doubt about that.
That's
like he's not somebody that you say, oh, this is our starter. This is our QB1. Not at all.
No.
And whatever you think of that, I mean, maybe determines how you view him being the specific name. Like, you know, Sam Levitt's going to transfer somewhere. Brandon Sorsby is going to transfer somewhere. There's going to be guys that are in the portal that are making millions of dollars, and they're going to the new place to be the starting quarterback there. I'm sure Austin Simmons is getting a bag, but I don't think that you can tell Austin Simmons, like, yep, it's your job. We're excited to have you. I think this is absolutely a quarterback competition that plays out over the course of, you know, the next 8 months, 9 months, and may the best man win. And I would not be surprised if Eli Drinkwitz gets another player in the quarterback portal. Like, I would not be shocked by that. I won't think I could predict it, at least not somebody that you're really paying substantial NIL to. But I also wouldn't mind it. Like, okay, let's just think about this. Ole Miss had Austin Simmons and they had Trinidad Chambliss. Like, they might have made the playoffs with Simmons. We don't know. We never will. But you can have more than one good one in the room. I think this last year, Mizzou hoped it had more than one good one in the room. Bo Prabula underwhelmed and Sam Horn got injured. And so you didn't end up getting to see that play out. But this is the most important position in sports in the biggest league in collegiate athletics. So I wouldn't mind throwing additional money at this if there's another quarterback that they like, the Amari Odom guy from Kennesaw. Like, I don't know if it's realistic to expect a third guy to come in and be willing to, duke it out and see. But this is a start that we needed. Eli Drinkwitz got a quarterback in the room to compete with Matt Sowers. I think that is the way to frame it for now.
Well, at the very least, quarterback almost needed to be the first transfer added to make sure other dominoes could fall on your roster.
That's fair.
You need like almost an entirely new wide receiver room at this point. Daniel Blood reportedly transferring away. So like all you have in the room right now are true freshmen. As far as the scholarships, the scholarship wide receivers, or were true freshmen last year. And that's all you have.
Like this season.
Yeah. So they're going to be sophomores next year. And now you need more guys to fill out the room. And I don't think you can convince at least the ones that you want to have on your team that, oh yeah, come join us, but we'll tell you who the quarterback is later. Like, no, you gotta make sure they know. And so that has to be priority number one. Now, I am intrigued by your premise, Brendan. Like, would you really go after another quarterback?
They won't probably. Like, realistically, we know that all these guys transferring out of Mizzou, and it's been, there's been a lot of them this week, the last couple of weeks, but a lot of them are guys who didn't get the playing time, and so they're hoping that throwing their name back into the portal, maybe they get to go somewhere where they get the playing time rather than have a little bit of foresight to imagine that, hey, look, the roster's empty, and if you were to be one of the folks that stay, you could have opportunity moving forward. There's consistency. There's the fact that you've been here before, continuity. So that's not how kids think. And so, like, to imagine you could do it at quarterback, it just seems impossible. But I like the stuff I was reading and hearing about the Kennesaw State kid, Amari Odom. Like, I don't think you're getting a Lagway, but you could get somebody that comes from a lower rung and add that individual to the room, because again, Matt Sowers was not supposed to play this year. And in a perfect world, he'd be going into next year as a redshirt freshman who knows what his readiness to play would be. I'm excited about him long-term, but I'm not going to, after what we saw in the bowl game, act as though he's on the cusp of being somebody I want to see start games for Mizzou in 2026. I do not want Matt Sowers to be starting games next year unless we see a rapid growth from him over the next 8 and 9 months. So yeah, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of taking that approach where it's almost like you're trying to build a starting rotation in baseball and just get as many quality players as you can. And one of them's bound to be good and he'll reveal himself during the fall camp period. I don't think it's that realistic. I personally wouldn't have a problem with it. You do. The obvious issue with it is you have so many spots to fill on your roster, and it's going to cost money to do those things with quality players from the portal. So you have to be careful about putting too much into just all your eggs in one basket and say, yep, we're going to spend it on the quarterback spot. But I don't know. Austin Simmons, we don't know what he's making. It was widely reported Bo Prabula was making quite a bit of money. So if this number is less, then now you've freed up some money to go do some other things. I wouldn't rule it out as something I would be interested in seeing, Andy, but it seems like Simmons and Zollers could end up being the result here. You just have it's such an important position. I don't think anything can be ruled out, though, on chasing a quarterback if you think that guy's a playmaker and could be the guy for you. Because right now you've got two guys who are intriguing, but both are unproven at this level.
Call or text us. What do you think, Mizzou fans? The reporting from Pete Thamel of ESPN that Austin Simmons of Ole Miss plans to enter the transfer portal with a no-contact tag. It seems that Mizzou is the school to watch when it comes to Simmons' landing spot.
By the way, your point about the quarterback needs to be resolved first is why this gets leaked out by someone at Mizzou, right? Like you need it. You need the people in the portal, the receivers you're trying to get to know. Yeah, if you saw Matt Zollers, we're really high on him. He's got a great arm. But if you saw his stats and think you might not be able to get the football from him, he's not the only guy that we've got competing for this quarterback job. It needed to go out there that, hey, Austin Simmons is going to be here too. To me, that's the obvious reason as to why this leaks out, because Austin Simmons can't sign with you today. He's on Ole Miss, and I kind of like that they're letting him stick it out with Ole Miss, right? Like they're in the playoff. They beat Georgia in a game that, many didn't see that outcome coming the way that it did. And so he gets to still be around, kind of learning from last year where Bo Prabula didn't get the opportunity to do it that way, and it was unfortunate. But yeah, I think that you had to have that information out there because they'll still be playing for another week. This was probably the best way to do it. Just leak it out that he's coming.
And I think it's also, maybe we'll see an update to this, but on the Lagway part, I don't think we saw that Lagway had set a visit or any kind of reporting of whether he's going to visit somewhere. On Amari Odom, there was reporting on that. Chris Hummer said he's going to visit Syracuse on Monday, and then he's going to visit Mizzou on Wednesday. Now, look, he can always cancel it and say, oh, I know you guys are going to get Simmons. I'm not coming anymore. I don't want to do that. Or maybe he likes Syracuse enough. There can always be updates to that. But I think it is still if you still want to bring him in, maybe you do.
I would absolutely bring that kid in for a visit if he still wants to come. Yes, because again, I don't think that the prominent national reporters are reporting this information about Simmons unless somebody at Mizzou wanted it to be reported. Right. I would be surprised if that's not the case. And then again, that allows for the other players on offense or even defense that you're targeting that are asking, hey, what's your outlook going to look like, Mizzou, for this 2026 season? Who's your quarterback? Well, that's going to be the first question anybody would ask when deciding whether or not to join your team, especially offensive players. So, yeah, I think that's why it comes out. But, all this stuff with Odom is still something you can pursue as well. And, this individual is playing at Kennesaw State this year.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to make money in the transfer portal through NIL. But I don't necessarily think a player at Kennesaw State is guaranteed if he's jumping to the SEC or jumping to, in the Syracuse case, maybe he is a little bit more guaranteed for a starting job. But what if he's the type that says, yeah, I'll take $250,000 because that's a heck of a lot of money, but I'm going to come in and compete at Missouri because if I win that competition, I'm an SEC starter. I don't know how unrealistic it is, Andy, to imagine things going that way, where you spent $1.5 million on Prabula. That's what the reports said, and it didn't work out. If you're Eli Drinkwitz and you're tired of not having the quarterback to match the roster that you have to get to the playoff, why not piece it out? $500K to you, $500K to you, three different guys. I don't think it would be crazy. They may not be for it, but if they're getting that guaranteed salary, why not? That versus, okay, I'll go to Syracuse and make the playoff from there. No, of course not. I think if you're a player, you could almost see, as long as you're getting your cash, come in and compete, see what happens, let the chips fall. These guys play quarterback. They've got to have a little bit of an ego. They've got to believe in themselves. So, yeah, I'd take that visit with Odom if he still wants to have it, because that might be your best case scenario, is actually having two transfers in plus Zollers. I might be speaking out of school here. Maybe that's not realistic. But as a fan, I would be for it, especially if they were able to get Simmons without necessarily paying the same price tag they paid on Bo Prabula.
Call or text us at 875-KTGR with your thoughts on Austin Simmons reportedly entering the transfer portal with a no-contact tag. reportedly Missouri is the school that is the favorite to land him. I do want to know from Mizzou fans, though, like if maybe you went into this saying, we got to splurge. We got to splurge a quarterback. We got to get the star. We got to get the stud. We have to be in the bidding war for whoever it is, Sorsby, Raiola, one of these top tier guys that we know at a Power 4 program, they put up the numbers and we could translate that here and make that happen. Like, how do you feel today? Because like, I thought that this was the most likely route that Mizzou would go.
Yeah.
As much as it's uncertain and Matt Zowers didn't look great in his very first year, and that puts doubt in your mind as to whether it will be better for year two. And the thought of him starting again, at least from the very recent data you've seen on Matt Zowers, is a little bit daunting, it seems, for Mizzou fans. I think this was always going to be the most likely route, though. Bring in people to compete with him. Maybe it pushes him to the point where he gets better, or you've got a guy that clearly showed that he's better and he's your starter. I think that, to me, budget-wise, is the best way for Missouri to go on this. Because, look, I know that Ahmad Hardy's back and Jamal Roberts is back. Awesome. Alubade's back. Great. You need to find some wide receivers.
By the way.
That's a huge one.
We've gotten some good news with all the tweets about who has signed back, which is kind of the way it works. We get an annual free agency, and if there's not a tweet, they're probably not coming back. It's almost the way that it feels at this point.
Yeah. So, I mean, all of that on offense is good news, at least. On defense, it seems that right now Mizzou's losing quite a bit. Josiah Trotter going to the NFL draft today. Marvin Burks in the portal. Like, you have 2 scholarship corners, I think, and they've got combined like 30 snaps or whatever. Like, this defense will need to be absolutely rebuilt, if you ask me. And,
yes,
and that's going to cost a lot of money.
Because frankly, with Simmons, and like, do I predict that Simmons will be taking the first snap in week 1? I do. Like, I don't think Zollers is remotely close.
Yeah.
To kind of try to put that as kindly as I can. He's just not ready.
All right.
Simmons, I mean, Ole Miss thought he was ready enough to beat out Trinidad Chambliss in a camp battle. So however you view that, but I still say there's questions there because he's unproven. But if that's your quarterback and you've got not only 1 stud running back, but 2, and you've got a wide receiver 1, and Alubade is that, by the way. They don't have to bring in a wide receiver who is better than Donovan Alubade. Donovan Alubade will be the best wide receiver on this team next year, and that's fine because I think he's that good. But they have to bring in guys that can be complementary to that. But they got Caden Green back as well. Yeah. And that's a nice addition for an offensive line that's going to see a ton of turnover. To get ostensibly your best offensive lineman back is a really nice kind of feather in your cap. They're going to have to focus a lot of the energy, time, and financial resources on defense. Trotter officially to the NFL, like they're going to have to work some magic on that side of the ball over the next couple of weeks. And I don't know if we have a definitive answer on Damon Wilson yet, so maybe that changes a little bit of the math if he comes back, and that'd be a big one. Who knows? That would be huge for the defensive end room, but at the same time, you still need to replace it on the other side. You do need to rebuild the depth at least a little bit. You certainly need to do that at D tackle because they lost a lot. Tackle, linebacker. Nick Rodriguez is back, which is huge. But you do need to add, I think, another starter-ish type player, maybe 2. Corner, you need a bunch. Like, you just do. And maybe even now 1 more safety. So it's a lot to have to, like, we gave a lot of praise to Corey Batoon's defense. I pronounced that very weirdly towards the end. Corey Batoon's defense. Batoon and Matata, no worries. So that's going to have to keep up money-wise if you want to see that defense keep doing what it did, because that was the reason why Mizzou was in all of their games this year, but they were unable to get a few of them because the offense was just so one-dimensional and could not get what they needed. So what do you really think in your heart of hearts about Austin Simmons? Because I think the more I sit here, I love that Kennesaw State kid to come in and see what's going on. It's just so unlikely that you're going to have 3 quarterbacks well, maybe it's not. I don't know. It depends on what Austin Simmons is being paid, because Bo Prabula is making NIL. Sam Horn was making NIL.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that
and Matt Zollers was making
came
NIL,
for free.
right?
You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
So like there was 3 this year.
Pretty
So
much.
exactly how you frame that. I think they're getting another transfer, but I don't know that it's going to be somebody that it's more in the Drew Pine category, I bet, if they get another one. But I think Eli Drinkwitz, seeing the way that this last year went, would not go in without a third guy that is at least,
I mean,
like, got a pulse.
If you brought in another one, you would harken back to the year where, I guess, when Jake Garcia was here and he was thrown in with Cook and Sam Horn, and I think you had a true freshman. I think that was Jabari Johnson. I think he was still here that season. It was there was a true freshman on the roster. I just don't know who it was. Yeah. And like, look, the Gavin Sidwar will be on the roster next year. He'll be part of the mix. I don't know if he has a chance to start. But like, if you bring in another guy, 3 guys that very clearly could win the job if they impress enough, that has happened at Mizzou before. Would you predict that it happens, Brendan?
I think I think we know in retrospect Jake Garcia wasn't actually going to win the job. And so you need somebody in that category, I think, just to kind of get you by. How often are these true freshmen coming in and like Gavin Sidwar is not going to be Johnny Football? Like, you know what I mean? You can't count on a true freshman to actually be somebody that's part of the mix until they show you that they are. And like, Drink had very nice things to say about Matt Zollers in the summertime and in August. And then we saw him have to come in during the season, and he had moments, but largely was, just not ready for that role. And so I don't think you can expect, as much as you might like all the true freshmen that you're recruiting out of high school to come in, I don't think you could expect Gavin Sidwar to like play a role in any sort of quarterback depth chart in 2026. Simmons started against Georgia State and threw for 341 yards. He threw for 3 touchdowns. Season,
right? Yeah.
Had a couple of picks. Against Kentucky, he started, threw for 235 yards, did not throw a touchdown, had 2 interceptions in that game, ran 8 for 44. Like, kid can move. Kid's got an arm. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of things to like about Austin Simmons. We just only saw him for 2 games this year. And so, it's very difficult to say what he's going to be. But if you're kind of just banking on talent and banking on attributes and upside, then he's an exciting guy to bring in. I just have to know what he costs, if I may. Like, if it's in the neighborhood of what they paid Bo Prabula, then clearly no. Like, this is probably kind of what you're rolling with. Zollers was probably making money. They probably had to give him a raise to keep him, and then you're seeing those 2 guys duke it out, and you'll bring in a guy for depth that you hope never sees the field. Like, that's the most likely outcome here. And even more likely than that is that Matt Zollers is going to be a red shirt in 2026. Like, he's not going to play in a 5th game, which I do not care about red shirts at all. But like, Austin Simmons is probably going to be your starter. And if he stays healthy, he's going to be the one that plays in all the games. We will see if that's enough to elevate Missouri, because he's an exciting player. I like a lot about him, a lot of what I've read and heard, and the way that he handled losing his job, like supposedly, handled everything really well. They said Bo Prabula handled stuff well too, and then he came here and he kind of underwhelmed in the way that he performed on the field,
and also
when the competition ramped up,
and also got hurt, and that's happened back-to-back years now. Like, Mizzou has had to turn to a backup quarterback to start at least one game.
Yeah. So you got to have
back-to-back seasons.
You got to get another transfer,
right?
But I think Simmons is the one, and I imagine the salary will reflect it if it ever gets reported. Simmons will be the one that is the leader in the clubhouse for the job. Matt Zollers can steal it from him by coming in and just being on another level in August. But I think Simmons is definitely I don't necessarily know if you can compare it to past competitions where like Brady Cook over Sam Horn that first year was just clearly going to be Brady Cook. This last year, we debated the degree to which Prabula versus Horn was a real competition. I always kind of thought it would be Bo Prabula, but I imagine some of the struggles we saw from Bo on the field in real games, they probably saw some in practices too. So they were hoping, like, let's see if Horn can. I mean, they might have really given that a go.
Yeah,
I'm going to go like 65-35 on the Simmons thing being the way. But there's like a 1/3 room for wiggle that Matt Zollers comes out, and all those traits that we know he has. He puts it together and he levels up from a processing standpoint and levels up in all the ways that Drink would want to see. But you won't catch me saying this one's not a real competition because I don't think Simmons has shown enough to where you could say if you love Zollers the way that I think that Drinkwitz does, you can't necessarily just keep him in the program but say he's got no shot at it. Like he'll present this as a competition, and largely I think it will be one that Zollers is not at all favored to win, but he'll be involved in it for sure.
Call or text us 573-875-KTGR. The news reported within the last hour or so from Pete Thamel of ESPN. Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons reportedly entering the transfer portal. Mizzou seems to be the favorite to land him. He entered in with a no-contact tag. We'll have more on that. We'll get to your calls and texts on that topic as the portal officially opens today. We'll obviously talk some college football playoff and some Mizzou hoops. We'll have our picks of the week. But up next, Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com gets us ready for the NFL weekend, Week 18, right before the playoffs. Where are the best bets to play with in your jurisdiction of legality? Rob Veno joins us next on The Big Show.
The Big Show with Andy and Brendan continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Lee's Tire Company. It is getting to be holiday time, and that means slick roads a lot of the time. So make sure that your tires are in tip-top shape. If you need new ones, now's a great time to get some at Lee's Tire Company, because right now they're running a special where you can buy 2 tires and get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands. That's right. Buy 2 tires and get 2 free. That'll save you a ton of money if you need new tires, or you just want to switch them out for the winter time. You can do that too with Lee's Tire Company. They have an excellent service team at all 3 of their locations that can get your car serviced for these winter months. And of course, they are the tire pros in mid-Missouri. I've gotten my new tires from Lee's Tire Company. You should do so too, especially now. Buy 2 tires, get 2 free on Mastercraft and other select brands at Lee's Tire Company on the Business Loop in Columbia, or University Garage by the MU campus, or their location in Centralia. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com.
If you've got a bug or you got a problem, you call Steve. That's the end of the problem.
This is Coach Norm Stewart, so you should probably listen to what he has to say about Steve's pest control.
I think when you look at the population, most of us fall into a category. There's a few people that are very gifted in certain areas, and there are people that are gifted, but they are better at perseverance. Steve is one of those people. He's gifted, but he also perseveres. And that's why he's been so successful. And if you call him and you're dealing with him, you know everything's going to be on the up and up. Now, Steve can take care of everything from mice to spiders and wasps. And you know what? Again, this year, we're going to have to take care of the Jayhawks. So that's the one you better watch out for.
This is Steve with Steve's Pest Control. We're going to solve your pest problems. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Lose weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis Guaranteed or your money back. No matter how many times you failed in the past, this hypnosis is guaranteed to work.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed, only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Hypnosis, Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30 p.m., stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Registration 30 minutes before. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
And now the doggy dedication with Kretsch's Custom Exteriors. This week's letter comes from Coco in Columbia. Coco writes, Dear Kretsch's, my human's been whizzing off his new deck nonstop. I've never seen him so happy. But while he's making salty lemon snow cones, I don't have a place to pee of my own. If I had a wood fence to whiz on, I could unleash my freedom stream from a three-legged lean. Well, Coco, Crutch's Custom Exteriors can build you that fence to splatter your bladder. Crutch's Custom Exteriors. True beauty is on the outside.
Back to more of the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. You've got The Big Show on the KTGR app.
Back here on The Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Andy and Brendan here. We now bring in our expert, Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com for sports from a Vegas perspective, on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports, and over at WagerTalk.com. You can see great stuff as far as betting for college football and for NFL. Final weekend of the NFL season, regular season, should say, before the playoffs start. But man, Robbie, last night's college football playoff games, or at least the last one, sure was exciting. But now, as we see two pretty intriguing matchups for the semifinals for next week, I just wonder, Robbie, how you look at maybe the odds if you're wanting to put a bet on somebody to maybe win it all at this point, who you think the greatest value is for the four teams that are left in the field.
Good question. Wow, my mind goes to two places, but if you're using the word value, I'm going to say that it would lie with, it would probably lie with Miami of Florida you know what? Value-wise, probably Oregon. And Indiana and Miami are going to be the two favorites, right, in that particular instance. So not going to get great value there. But if you're looking for Oregon, definitely in a revenge match, could defeat Indiana. It's possible. It was a 30-20 game the first time around, fairly close. So thinking that, you know, if you want to catch something with a larger plus price, I worry about Ole Miss and this whole coaching situation going on here right now. We'll see how it all works itself out. I think Oregon, if they got to a game in the championship, they do have the ingredients to get there. So maybe as a value play, Oregon. Overall, I think if you were going to choose, you know, the setup here looks to be Indiana, Miami, right? We'll see how it plays out later on at the end of the week, but it's tough to decipher between those two right now. Indiana, the better offensive team. It's funny to say, but Indiana may be actually the number one team in the nation.
They've certainly proven it time and again as they've now dismantled Alabama in their latest showing. Now, when it comes to, let's jump to the NFL here, the Week 18 games, now they're a bunch of games that we'll talk about in a bit that are meaningful, but a whole lot of games out there that aren't. And Robbie, I just wonder, especially with, you know, the Chiefs being in one of those games that is completely meaningless towards anything standings wise, mostly just ordering for the NFL draft next year. How you treat a lot of these games? Do you usually stay away, or do you ever find some diamonds in the rough that you want to say, okay, maybe this will happen in this particular game?
You really have to scratch them off, Andy. You really do, unless you have a contest where, almost like preseason, right, where one side does show a little bit of motivation and the other side totally doesn't care. In the case of Kansas City and Las Vegas, I just put a huge red mark through that because there's nothing here for KC to play for. And, you know, Las Vegas showed you last week they're going to do everything they can to get that number one pick when you get trounced by the Giants. 2-win teams the way that they did. They made sure they stayed in the running for the lead for the running from number one spot. So I think, you know, again, a lot of this is really, really like betting preseason. If you find one side motivated where the other is playing out the string, maybe looking at some backups, then you can get involved. But otherwise, I just can't. You know, there's money to be won in other places. Never mind trying to guess on those types of situations.
Yeah, still several games this weekend, Robbie, that will be interesting, that will be meaningful, at least at the time that they're played. I like that we get the NFC South game on Saturday because the weirdness happening with the Falcons, if those games are scheduled differently, there would be different circumstances on them. But what are your thoughts right now on the free fall that the Bucs are in and whether or not they'll be able to win to at least extend their season to Sunday and then seeing what the Falcons do against the Saints?
If the game were in Carolina, I think it would be a no-brainer for me, and I would be on Panthers because I'm just in the boat that says I don't want to play Tampa Bay at any price anymore. They've just been too bad for too long to close out this season with no real look of a team that has any continuity whatsoever, even though, they've gotten their pieces back on offense. Aside from Tristan Wirfs, the left tackle, receiving core is back. Bucky Irving's been back. I know Baker had a left non-throwing shoulder problem, but it's been 5 weeks, and they just can't get out of their own way. Last week was probably the last straw for them. So they're at home, and they would be the logical choice in a game like this. You would lean toward the home team, especially at a price tag now that in some places is 2.5, less than a field goal. Seems almost like, handicapping 101, play that team, but I just can't. I can't do it with them. I think Carolina has a lot more desire. Again, I wish they were at home because their home results are better than their road. So it's probably a game to not take a stance in. And, total wise, guys, you know me, I'm always looking toward over. This one sits at 44. It's possible that I could get there. There's enough 43.5s out there maybe to entice me once tomorrow comes if this thing stays in that range.
Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. And that same day on Saturday, the Seahawks and the 49ers are playing for the 1 seed and certainly going to be highly motivated to get that one. There was a similar game last year between the Lions and the Vikings, and the seed difference certainly is enough to play for. So when you look at that and how both teams have played so far this year, San Francisco has somehow done this with all of the injuries they've suffered, and Seattle was also one of the surprises of the season. Just how do you see them facing off a second time around this regular season?
Yeah, this one could have a little weather interference, right? Started raining there in Santa Clara today, will rain all game tomorrow, will rain Sunday. There's just been a 3-day pattern of rain. So while rain doesn't necessarily change everything in handicapping, I think when you put it on this field, which has a history, or they've tried to fix it 3 or 4 times, right, of just getting torn up in wet weather, you wonder how the footing will be. All that said, I do think Seattle's the better team, both sides of the football. Boy, money's come in strong even this afternoon on the Seattle side. Flip of favorites. San Francisco opened -1. Seattle now, they were 1.5 about 90 minutes ago. They're now 2.5 point favorites over San Francisco, which is dealing with some injuries that perhaps I've been reading that maybe they won't play these guys. Trent Williams at left tackle, figuring they could, use resting him more than they could use a number 1 seed. And B, George Kittle. Maybe those guys don't play. Maybe they do. But if they don't, it certainly opens up the door for Seattle. Maybe that's what people are betting here as they push it up to 2.5. San Francisco's offense is, at this point in time, unstoppable. It's kind of like the Rams, and we saw what the Rams did against Seattle. The Rams chewed up a really good Seattle defense. The rain could affect that offense. And with that being said, San Francisco's defense is average at best. I'm probably being kind. So, 3 of the 4 units on the field are really good, and 1 is really bad, and that's the San Francisco defense. So I'd probably play Seattle here in this game. You don't want to let it get to 3, though. 2.5 is about as far as you can let this go in what could very well be a field goal game. And I'll say this. Maybe more for Brendan than anybody else here, but if this was a dry field, I would have already been in on the over in this game between these two teams.
Yeah, I'm still probably going to have to think about it with the way that San Francisco's defense is played. That should be a very compelling game between 2 potential Super Bowl teams. And then on the other side, you've got the Sunday night game in the AFC North. That division will be determined between the Steelers and the Ravens. And I'm not sure I could trust either of these teams if they do sneak into the playoffs, but how do you kind of see that one playing out, Robbie? Lamar Jackson just hasn't played very well this year, but he's always capable. So how do you kind of line up those 2 teams in a winner-take-all?
It's strange. It really is to have it come down to this, and with these 2 teams in the current form that they're in. I I love the way you worded it because you pushed right ahead to untrustable in the playoffs. Never mind Sunday, but untrustable. Either one is untrustable in the playoffs, that's for sure. I lean Baltimore here. To me, Pittsburgh's got more defensive deficiencies. TJ Watt, I don't have a firm confirmation on whether he'll play here or not, but I would imagine he's going to try. But Baltimore seems to be leaning on what they do best last couple of games, especially last game with Derrick Henry, and that opened some things up for them. Defense has come around a little bit. Not sure that, Pittsburgh has the weaponry to win this game. It was a bad time for DK Metcalf to choose to get suspended for 2 games. Cost him last week, certainly against the Cleveland Browns defense. And I think it probably cost them again this week against Baltimore. The great equalizer, though, as always, is the point spread. And you're asking Baltimore now to win by more than a field goal. Numbers 3.5. You got to win by 4. Possible, and I'll probably get there. But these are NFC North matchups, and we'll have to check the weather before I get too crazy with it. But I can't play Pittsburgh in this spot.
Good news is you can wait all the way up until kickoff. You don't have to find a river anymore. So that's the beautiful part about the last month or so. Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com here on the Big Show KTGR. So, Robbie, what's the free pick this weekend that you like the most?
I would like to stick within college football here, guys. But some of the games have gone off already, and later tonight, probably lesser play. So I'll dive into college basketball here for this evening. And, Michigan to me, guys, has looked like the best team in college football and college basketball since Thanksgiving. They're a 23-point favorite against USC tonight. And USC is a 12-1 team. I chose to really isolate here. Michigan's great. I'm a proponent of the team right now, but I just thought the number was too big. And with that number being so big, comes a little bit of I don't want to call it disrespect, but maybe a little value in the USC team total here. They're asked tonight to get over 74.5, excuse me. Or it was 73.5. I'm just checking here. Over 73.5 to me for a talented USC team. Even if Michigan gets 100 like they've been getting every game, I think USC is good enough to get to 75. So that was the play I played strongest today. USC team total against Michigan in college hoop over 73.5.
That is a pretty crazy wide spread for a Big Ten matchup between the top 25 teams, but that's how good Michigan has been this year. So there you go. Rob Veno of WagerTalk.com. Great to get his insights on all things betting for not just football, but we're getting closer to hoop season. It is hoop season, obviously. Conference season beginning this weekend for the SEC. And so we'll be following all of that. You can follow Robbie on Twitter at Rob Veno Sports and over at WagerTalk.com. Thanks, Rob, for coming on. Happy New Year to you. We'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, guys. Happy New Year to you as well. Have a good weekend.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to leestirecompany.com. Report coming from Pete Thamel of ESPN. Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons plans to enter the transfer portal, and the top target, it would seem, the favorite to land him, is the University of Missouri. Simmons was starting the season as the starter for Ole Miss at quarterback, but got injured. Trinidad Chambliss took over for him in the middle of the year and kept the job. Ole Miss obviously still alive in the college football playoff after beating Georgia last night. It appears that Simmons will get to stay with Ole Miss through their playoff run, but he is planning to enter the transfer portal with a no-contact tag. Mizzou appears to be the favorite for him, according to the reporting from Pete Thamel of ESPN, also Pete Thamel of ESPN, also Pete Nakos of On3 Sports. Mizzou men's basketball will expect to have Jaden Stone and Trent Pierce available for tomorrow's SEC opener against Florida. That's according to head coach Dennis Gates in his press conference earlier today. Tip-off at 7:30, pregame at 7 right here on KTGR. Mizzou women's hoops fell to number 2 Texas in their SEC opener, 89-71 last night. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking clouds tonight, but sunshine returns tomorrow with mild temperatures right around 40 degrees. We stay seasonal this weekend with some clouds on Sunday. We'll still expect to warm into the mid-40s, jumping all the way to the 60s on Monday and Tuesday, about 20 degrees above average for January. We'll stay warm in the 50s next week with our next rain chances finally on the way by Thursday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
Midway Electric presents the High School Sports Power Play of the Week.
2 turnovers to start out, coming out of the locker room, and now a third as Ramsing had her pocket picked. Here's Higgins with the steal. Higgins takes it coast to coast, layup in with the foul. What a move by Tate Higgins. A little bit of a hesitation at the top of the arc, then made her move.
That's the Power Play of the Week with Midway Electric, powered by people with pride. MidwayElectricInc.com.
Hi, everyone. Andy Humphrey here for Advanced Tree Solutions. Working with Eric from Advanced Tree Solutions is an excellent experience. I can attest from personal experience. He'll come out to your yard. He'll inspect your trees, tell you exactly what you need done to them. Not going to try and upcharge you on things either. He'll make sure that he takes care of your wallet at the same time. Take care of any kind of safety issues that your trees may have if they're hanging over power lines or you have a dead one that needs removed, or if you just need tree pruning done so that your trees can grow stronger in the springtime. Go call up his team or go to AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com and you can see everything that they offer when it comes to your trees. They serve Columbia, Jefferson City, and Fulton, and they're licensed and insured. And I'm telling you, you'll be glad that you worked with them when you look up at your trees when they're finished with their work and you can see that they're taken care of. Go check out AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com. If you need tree pruning done this winter, go book now because spots are filling fast. Give your trees the care they deserve with Advanced Tree Solutions.
Everyone's looking for their paradise. For some, the search starts at a dispensary. At Shangri-La, it is the dispensary. Because Shangri-La isn't a shady, I can't wait to get out of here kind of spot. It's a welcoming, fun place to hang out, watch TV, and learn about the massive product selection with the cool staff. Whether you're a regular or first-timer, they'll get you set up just the way you like. Because Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Michael Agnew here with API Project Fitness. I understand that life is hard, and if you're soft, it will squish you. You must find a way to be hard. Armor yourself up mentally and physically and emotionally. Our goal is to help you find your inner strength and hardness. The difference between strength and weakness is choice. With our group fitness classes and personal training and open gym, the choice is yours. Choose strength. Find us at APIProjectFitness.com or call us at 573-268-6944 to make an appointment.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food, crazy, enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, only $59.99. Seminars, Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Welcome to every gym in January. Membership prices, crazy high. Crowds, even worse. All just to wait in line for a bench. Or, hear me out, you could build your own home gym from Play It Again Sports. Free weights, dumbbells, plates, treadmills, ellipticals, benches, racks, and more. New and used. At prices that don't feel like a crime. No crowds, no monthly fees, no awkward eye contact with Chad curling on the squat rack. Play It Again Sports. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
They can't shoot it straight on the golf course, but they can shoot straight on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Back to Andy and Brendan on The Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on The Big Show.
Somehow Lane Kiffin is making this look worse. Did not know it could get worse than he had made it look. but he is making this look worse. There's now a lot of uncertainty as to whether the 6 assistants that are going to join Lane Kiffin at LSU from Ole Miss are going to be able to keep coaching for Ole Miss during the most important games that Ole Miss has ever played. Like, reportedly, they're trying to wrestle away, most notably Charlie Weiss Jr., the offensive coordinator, and several other position coaches. And, I mean, that in and of itself is worthy of under the bus. Like, at this point, like, Lane, you can't just assume that Ole Miss was going to be knocked out in the first or second round and then be like, okay, everybody, come on.
Clearly, that was the implication. And deciding to take the LSU job in the first place tells you he didn't think he could win where he was, I suppose. And B, my coach is sure coach him for a game or two, no problem. We'll see you soon. And then they keep winning.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
That part's bad and under bus.
The bus.
What's also bad is that he keeps trying to take credit for the school that he is leaving. Which, look, you deserve credit for bringing them the record that got them worthy of being in the playoffs. Sure, no doubt. You did an excellent job with Ole Miss this year. But apparently there was a situation where he was going to attend the Sugar Bowl last night. He was going to go. I don't know how Ole Miss folks felt about it, but when it came down to it, he also wanted to go on the ESPN broadcast and spend a segment with the TV broadcasters. And when ESPN said, no, we're good, then he decided to not go to the Sugar Bowl altogether. He went to the LSU women's basketball game last night instead. So, like,
he's such a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very clear he's a weird guy. And he's got a little bit of a complex where the world revolves around him, and it kind of does. I mean, when you get wooed by LSU and you make all this money. But, like, good for ESPN producers, whoever said, no, that's not something we need for our broadcast, because that would have been a nightmare. Like, it seems so obvious to the rest of us, but to him, he thought, well, why not? Why can't I be on the...
Right. You're in town, basically. Like, why don't you want me on it? Like, yeah.
I cannot wait to root against this guy.
That's going to be so much fun. So much fun. Like, it's
under the bus.
It's like he's still trying to take credit for everything that they're doing now.
Or what did he think he could come on and apologize, or like he was going to make it better somehow?
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make any logical sense why he thought that would be a great plan.
And again, like, LSU is still paying the bonuses that he would have gotten at Ole Miss if he had kept winning playoff games. Like, take your money and just be happy with that. Come on.
So that part of it, though, I would say when it comes to the coaches, he should want them to keep coaching so he can keep making more money.
Yeah, there you go.
Every game Ole Miss wins, he gets a little bit richer. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
All that being said, the team that Lane Kiffin used to coach had a heck of a battle with Georgia and ended up prevailing last night in what was one of the favorite college football playoff games I think I've seen. That was awesome last night.
And I hated every bit of it because I had Georgia. We are a jurisdiction of legality now.
Yeah.
But you can appreciate what they did and what Golding has done as the coach. Like, he outclassed Kirby last night. I did not think that Kirby Smart had a very good night at all, and neither did the offensive play calling for Georgia. If you take away a defensive score that Georgia had, and you take away the there's a field goal that
they
was missed. Like, that could have been a blowout game. But anyway, great job by Ole Miss. I don't think the magic can last the whole way through, but I definitely did not expect that outcome. I thought Georgia would handle them pretty convincingly last night, and it flat out did not go that way. Well, it's a credit to everybody that still is at Ole Miss, not to Lane Kiffin, who wants to keep involving himself but has frankly nothing to do with it anymore.
Pete Golding's going to be the coach next year. I think pretty clearly. Yeah.
Yeah,
like
they've already announced that.
Oh, have they?
They said,
Okay.
They said we're not doing an interim. Like, that was pretty quick once Kiffin left, which I think is the reason, by the way, that you can get the players to really rally. It's an unfortunate situation for Ole Miss, and I think they have handled it pretty damn well, considering just the bottom could have fallen out of this thing, Andy, and they just everybody from coaches to administration to players have made sure that it was bigger than Lane Kiffin, and that's a credit to the work that they've all done to get here.
And Trinidad Chambliss looked pretty darn good last night, and
there's no Austin Simmons, but he had a good game.
Hey, who knows? Maybe
that's
he
my
isn't.
agenda now,
Right?
Andy.
Yeah.
I got to have an agenda.
I know. And, of course, Austin Simmons, the decision for him looking a little bit easier, the way that Trinidad Chambliss has looked. Apparently, I mean, again, he's going to stay with Ole Miss through the playoff run, and it appears that he won't visit Mizzou once that season is over for the Rebels. So the earliest that could happen is, I mean, I don't know if he can sign for another team yet, but you can kind of know what the deal's going to be. So
it's very tricky. The College Football National Championship is not till the 19th.
I know, man.
The portal is closed to new entrants by that point, right?
It is, yeah. But I don't know if there's still the stipulation like there was in years past where after your season ends, you have 5 days. I'm not sure if that's still the case.
If that's an add-on. I'm just wondering because what happens if Chambliss gets hurt and Simmons leads Ole Miss to the national championship game?
A texter he put in that situation.
We've got a lot to get to.
We will get to your calls and texts on the Austin Simmons news. We'll also talk Mizzou hoops, college football playoff picks of the week all next here on The Big Show.
Welcome to Macadoodles. Macadoodles does game day like nobody else. Whether you're tailgating or hosting a watch party, Macadoodles has you covered. With more than 3,200 wine labels, 1,500 spirits, and 600 craft and imported beers, and delivery right to your tailgate or doorstep, the days of making a beer run are over. Macadoodles delivers, providing unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Drive through today or come inside and experience our world-class customer service. Who does game day like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Hey, this is Lisa Stofan. Heard the Mark Patrick weight loss hypnosis hype? Well, I attended because my father stopped smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis eliminated my desire for soda and fast food, made me want to exercise, and I lost 60 pounds in 6 months. My energy level exploded. I went to another session to deal with some other problem foods, and I lost another 10 pounds. In fact, I brought my husband, and he lost weight, and his cholesterol and blood pressure improved. My friend lost 20 pounds her first 2 months.
Oh my, what are you waiting for? Lose the weight or stop smoking with Hypnosis, guaranteed only $59.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-day eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. That's right. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30. Stop smoking hypnosis 8 o'clock. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
It was 1 p.m. on a Monday when the phone rang. Brian Ware Plumbing and Restoration answered the call. It was a panicked family with a mouse problem. Well, a mouse/plumbing problem. Their toilet was more backed up than the connector at 63 and I-70. But Brian's team eventually plucked out the problem. It was a mouse, but like the computer kind, which the family then asked if they could keep afterwards. We didn't ask why. Better call Brian and unplug your plumbing problems. BrianWarePlumbing.com.
KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, Mid-Missouri's total sports station. KTGR. Center.
I'm Ed Benkin. College bowl action continues on ESPN Radio and ESPN. Right now at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, they are late in the first half. Navy leads Cincinnati 14-7. Later tonight on ESPN Radio, it's the Duke's Mayo Bowl between Mississippi State and Wake Forest. That game can also be seen on ESPN. Earlier at the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, it was Texas State routing Rice 41-10. According to ESPN's Pete Thamel, Texas tight end Jack Endries will leave school and enter the 2026 NFL Draft. Also, according to ESPN's Pete Thamel, Washington quarterback Damon Williams has agreed to a new deal to return to the Huskies next season. To the NFL, the Bucs host the Panthers in a battle for first place in the NFC South. That'll be followed by the Seahawks and the 49ers tomorrow, the top seed in the NFC on the line. Both games can be seen on ABC and ESPN. ESPN's Marcus Spears says the Seattle defense needs to step up.
The focal point for me would be this D-line and how much of a string are they on? Brock Purdy now is a dual-threat quarterback, and I think we need to acknowledge that.
Meanwhile, the Vikings say quarterback J.J. McCarthy will start on Sunday in the Vikings season finale.
Hey, it's Evan Cohen. Coming up Monday, we'll continue to get you ready for the college football playoff semifinals. So can all 4 teams actually win the championship? It's on Sportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
From Faro. 15 to the 10, to the house. Bush. Back to the wall, and it's got her. And Arrowhead. Touchdown! Kansas City! To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brendan on KTGR.
Well, if the reporting from earlier this afternoon is to be believed, it appears that Missouri has found its next quarterback. Multiple reports now indicating that Austin Simmons of Ole Miss will enter the transfer portal and will do so with a no-contact tag, which implies, Missouri is the team to watch, everybody's saying, in this recruitment. So, okay, what's your take on that? Because he started the season as the starter for Ole Miss, a team still in the college football playoff, but he's not starting games for them now. So is this a good enough upgrade for you for the Mizzou quarterback spot? Are you excited about the possibilities with Simmons? Are you underwhelmed because Mizzou is maybe not getting a more proven option? Like a lot of ways you could go with this, and we'll take your calls or texts on the topic. 573-875-KTGR. We'll also ask who's your favorite now in the college football playoff after last night's crazy outcome between Ole Miss and Georgia. And we'll also get to a little Mizzou basketball talk today because they play Florida tomorrow. Yeah, Florida's pretty good. And then our picks of the week before we get out of here on a truncated week of the Big Show. 573-875-KTGR. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the top 5 at 5 on the Big Show. Number 1.
You want to trade away for curtain number 1? You can have curtain 1.
Day 1 of the portal being open, and it seems Mizzou has clarity on who they're going to get at quarterback. Austin Simmons, reportedly, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, is going to enter the transfer portal with a no-contact tag, and Mizzou appears to be the favorite to land him. Obviously, that would be possible by a bunch of back-channeling that happened before the portal actually happened. We're seeing a lot of that across the country, but with Simmons being the starter at the beginning of this season for Ole Miss, that's certainly notable, and I think would give him a leg up in the competition. How proven he was in those games. I mean, he started against Georgia State and Kentucky and Arkansas. Didn't finish the Arkansas game. That's where he got hurt. And, well, that's pretty much all we saw with him in meaningful snaps last season. So what does it mean for him going to another SEC school? Is he truly competing with Matt Zowers? Does Zowers have a chance on it? I believe he probably still does. But Simmons, obviously, with the pedigree he had at Ole Miss, sure seems to be the favorite now.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
Of course, created by the fact that Trinidad Chambliss has looked excellent for Ole Miss since he came into the fold, and he led them in a classic college football playoff victory last night over Georgia. That capped off what was largely an underwhelming quarterfinal round, but that game was excellent. Saw 2 blowouts earlier in the day. I thought Miami was pretty cool to see them upset Ohio State. And now we've got basically a wide open semifinal field. I can't wait for next week when we see all 4 of those teams square off. National championship will be very exciting after that too.
Number 3.
Dennis Gates said today that he expects Trent Pierce to make his season debut tomorrow and expects Jaden Stone to be back. He played the first 6 games, but picked up a hand injury that has kept him out since. No Javon Porter tomorrow, so that appears to be the only guy that would be out for Mizzou as they begin SEC play against Florida. Look, going to be a tough test anyway, and they didn't show much in non-con that they'd be worthy of getting wins like this, but now's the time for Mizzou. If they're going to make an NCAA tournament run or any kind of postseason run, now's the time to start showing things. Here's a chance against Florida tomorrow at your place.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
Mizzou women's basketball jumped out to a 17-5 lead against number 2 Texas last night, but eventually fell to the Longhorns 89-71. Big reason why, 30 turnovers for Kelly Harper's group. Yeah, that's not going to get it done.
Number 5.
What is the 5? Fingers. Side of the face. Slap.
And NFL Week 18. Well, just pay attention to tomorrow's games, the primetime game, and that's it.
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR if you want to call or text us. Again, largely a Week 18 slate that it's kind of slim pickings as to where the meaningful games are. And so they put a few on Saturday to have them be in their isolated window, and then a Sunday night game for essentially a play-in, and then everything between noon and 6 tomorrow is there's some, maybe a little bit. One division race will be ultimately decided. Denver plays for the 1 seed. If they win, they get it. But other than that, not much tomorrow. Or should say Sunday.
Yes, tomorrow the 2 games
Tomorrow's
are relevant.
good.
Sunday, it's a lot of nothing for the most part.
Yeah. Solve it by not guaranteeing a home game in the playoffs for the division winners. That's how you solve it.
Yeah, because I think in most years you'll have teams that are close enough in record to where they could lose or gain a spot, and you still may not have it play out that way in most years that final home game slot is something worth playing for. I'd be very curious to see if it went that way. If you're a 4 seed versus a 5 seed, would you still play your starters, or would you just say it's more important to rest them? But yeah, it's largely a joke of a week, and they want to add another game to the NFL schedule at some point. So
wonderful. Week 19 or week 20. It would probably be week 20 because they'd add probably a second bye to that. We'd have 20 weeks of this stuff. Great. Wonderful. I guess more football isn't a bad thing, but we would have even more of those quote unquote opt-outs like the Chiefs are kind of having. A lot of guys on the injury report recently for the Chiefs. So their game in Las Vegas will basically be just for kicks, it would seem, at 3:25 on Sunday. Let's get to your text. Steve basically laid out the scenario that you did at the end of last segment, Brendan. In the most Mizzou thing ever, Chambliss will get hurt against Miami. Simmons goes in and shines and pulls his name from contention. Mizzou'd. Come on, folks. You're already coming up with worst case scenarios when you know who your quarterback's going to be, it seems.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get Mizzou'd on this one. It is a very interesting situation, though, of that could happen that he would play. I think Chambliss has been so good, as long as they know they're getting him back, that if you're Simmons, you still have to go. But we'll see. Hopefully it all works out the way that it's supposed to. I'm glad they got him. I'm glad they are getting Austin Simmons, because it seems that they are. A lot of good reports about, the kind of person he is, kind of leader he is, kind of athlete he is. Was mistake prone, turnover prone, certainly in the couple of starts he had this last year. And that's something that you got to work through. But he also seems like he's going to be willing to take some chances downfield and has a big arm. So I'm for it, especially again if we find out that going this route rather than trying to swing for one of the very top names in the portal and knowing you'll pay that guy multiple $1 million if he does choose you, only for that guy maybe to not choose you. And so then you're left out in the cold. You need to find an answer, but the guys you went after, you weren't able to get. And you've gone through the whole portal session without receivers that you're trying to bring in, knowing who your quarterback room is made up of. I just think this is probably, I won't call it the best case scenario, but I think it's a better case scenario, certainly, to get a guy that's exciting and does have upside. It's a lot of the same stuff I said about Prebula, though, and his upside ultimately didn't result in the season we wanted. So there's risk there with a guy that we just haven't seen a ton at this level. But I am excited about the possibilities with Austin Simmons, and I think I'll even warm up as time goes along once we kind of see what the full roster looks like. But I think with everything, not just quarterback, I try to be in wait and see mode when it comes to this portal period, because we're going to get news every day that we like and news every day that we don't like. And you just have to kind of stay steady with it as a fan of there's going to be more to come, and we're going to eventually see the way that it shakes out. And I do generally default back to trusting Eli Drinkwitz to handle the portal, because he's done a pretty good job of it over the years.
And Michael continues to put that sentiment out on our Facebook page. Continue to build around him, because we do have several holes to fill on this team. Let's go shopping. It's funny, Brendan. I thought Mizzou would maybe just put out the posts of this guy is re-signed for like kind of the big names. And I'm not saying that these guys that they're posting about aren't big names, but there are a lot of questions about Jamal Roberts, and a lot of questions about Matt Zowers and Nick Rodriguez and everything like that. They're doing it for damn near everybody. Darius Smith, the recent one announced. Yeah, Darius Smith is a Missouri Tiger. Brett Northfleet is a Missouri Tiger.
I like that one.
Trajan Greco is a Missouri Tiger on the same day that Marvin Burks reportedly is entering the transfer portal. Like, you kind of need to know one way or the other, it would seem nowadays. Like, they got to make a post about pretty much everybody on the roster, I think.
Yeah. I mean, the ones that are staying, the ones that are staying and are getting considerable NIL, I think, that probably is relevant. The ones that are playing meaningful time. Yeah.
It's like, do you have to make the post and then that's your only indication that they're staying, or can you assume on anybody? Like, if you've heard nothing about them, what do you assume? Do you assume they're in the portal, or do you assume that they're staying? I don't know what to think anymore. We have to change our thinking on it, is what I'm saying.
I mean, if I see a tweet that they're re-signed, I assume they're staying. If I don't and they're relevant, I assume they're leaving. Yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you see nothing,
if I see nothing,
what do you assume?
My assumption is I need to see a tweet, or they're probably going to enter the portal.
So you need to see a tweet. All
right.
right.
I mean, who's left? You know what I mean? We've heard so many transfers.
Right.
We've heard some Marquise Gracial is back. Like, you're seeing a lot of them. I think you're going to, for like the starters, you're going to see that they're back, or then you'll probably see a tweet from somebody else with a graphic that they're entering the portal. Yeah.
All right. I guess everybody on the depth chart, like everyone who was on the depth chart this year.
At least like the 2 deep.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. Say, yes, they're coming back for sure. Don't worry. But there we go. Darius Smith, the latest one that is a Missouri Tiger. So that's good news for the pass rushing room. All right. That was really fun last night. Georgia Ole Miss. It wasn't fun seeing 1 second on the clock for a lot of the time, but I get it. Officials thought there was time left. They've got to follow the rules, and don't blame the refs, blame the rules for whatever it was. But I'm pretty certain that at least a second has to come off the clock when somebody recovers an onside kick. Like at least 1 second, right? Or you roll it and you say, okay, game's over, even though Georgia recovered it, which if they had scored on the crazy pitch play, then we would have had all kinds of other things to talk about today. But Ole Miss got it done, and it sets up a field, Brendan, where you've got Oregon facing Indiana and Miami facing Ole Miss. This is one of the rare years, Brendan, where I would be satisfied by anyone winning it all. Like, no one would upset me winning this thing. Like, I'd bemoan the fact that Alabama won, or Notre Dame, or Georgia, or Ohio State, or one of the blue. This is not that year. This is not the traditional blue blood year, it seems, that someone's going to win the national title. Like, it's going to be either someone that hasn't won it in a long time or someone who's never won it. Like, love that. More of that, please.
Yeah, I'm about it as well. And honestly, I still think you have high quality teams in the field. Like, Indiana is legitimate. We've known that. They've just been different all year long, and they handled Ohio State, and then they boat raced Alabama. So, like, there's no questioning, is this a very good team? No, Cignetti's doing some crazy things. Thought they were fraudulent last year. It's not the case this year. They had the quarterback, and they have a very well-rounded team. Ole Miss, I think defensively is just not enough to hold up as a national champion. I just don't think that they're solid enough on that side of the ball, and Georgia left a lot to be desired yesterday with their play calling that I think allowed for the result that you had. So, I mean, their offense, though, is really good. And you've got Miami that is looking like the Miami of what we saw at the beginning of the season, when I thought, they're legit this year too, after I didn't really believe in them last year. And that was the type of game that they played. So pretty good field that you have, for sure.
Yeah. Everyone's good, and everyone, I'm just speaking for myself, is likable. Would you agree with that? Like, I like every team. I would not be dissatisfied by anybody winning this thing.
Yeah. I think that's fine. I agree. Or, I don't really feel much for Oregon. But they put on a clinic against a Texas Tech team that I thought was going to win that game. And Texas Tech played really, really badly, and Oregon played really well defensively.
I love Dan Lanning, man. Like, he's a great coach.
Yeah.
He's been one of the winningest coaches in all of college football since he got there. And it was basically his first gig as a head coach. And the fact that he is like Oregon was to that height, but usually you expect a drop off when you get a first timer in there. Like, he's kept it there, and he has still a chance to give them their first national title. It's kind of crazy to think they don't have one, but they don't.
Yeah.
Like, you can't necessarily be considered a blue blood until you have one of those. And so, like, that's where you can get to.
That's kind of true, but we definitely think of them as a blue blood.
Yeah, because they have all the money. They got all the Nike money, right?
Like,
and
they've been
they acted like one for 20 years or so, whatever it
ever
is.
present for like 20 years, and so we kind of think of them in that way. But you're right, they haven't won one.
And so, like, you'd love to see that for them. You'd love to see it for Indiana. It's one of the best comeback stories in sports, I think, in recent years. Miami this year just has that would be the one that I would maybe like the least, but I still would kind of like it because they took out
the way they do it.
They took out a couple teams that I hate, Brendan. Like,
yeah,
I love that.
I get it that Miami is sort of that blue blood reimagined, and there was all the question about should they be in the field or should it be Notre Dame, and like Miami on their best day is as good as anybody, and that is what we're kind of seeing. It does remind me a little bit of last year's Ohio State, where they had some moments throughout the season where they tripped up to kind of lower their seed a little bit, and then they just boat raced everybody because they remembered they were the best team in the country. I remember watching Miami early in the year thinking, oh, this is different. Like, they are legitimate on both sides of the ball. So yeah, I think you're right. Oregon's honestly the one that I don't want to see.
Okay.
And I guess I don't really have a great explanation for that. I just think obviously the Indiana thing, by the way, very quickly, Indiana will become hated if they win it. Like, they'll go from lovable loser doing the unthinkable to very quickly they're just instant blue blood, and that's why what Cignetti has done is so amazing. But like, my fear with Indiana is that they'll win the national championship game by too many points, and like I'll be disappointed that it wasn't a more compelling final because I think they're that good. Against either Ole Miss or Miami, I don't even know what I would be rooting for. Like, I agree. It's a fun last four to have, and I hope we get two really good semifinal games. I think we will. Miami, slight favorite over Ole Miss, -3.5. I'm saying Indiana -4 over Oregon. Obviously, that's a game we've already seen. Yeah, I think they're going to be two good games. I think Miami has the best chance to blow somebody out, though. Like, if the other shoe drops on Ole Miss with their defense isn't even like a top 50 defense during the season, but they played so well offensively that they've been able to overcome it. We don't often see teams that have a deficit like that be able to get to the end. But you know what they do have? I mean, Ole Miss has a kicker. That guy's an NFL kicker. He
blasted that 47-yarder as if it was from 37.
Yep, he can be a difference maker that, like, you can cover up some warts because every time you're across midfield, you're thinking, hey, maybe we have a chance to put points on even if we don't get another first down. So I do think there are some compelling angles here. Who's going to win it? Is it just as easy to say as it's Indiana? They're that much better than everybody else, and it's going to be a cinch?
Yeah,
or
I think we'll eventually get there. Like, I'm trying to parse out how good was Indiana versus how bad was Alabama yesterday. I think it was a little bit of both.
Alabama never was good.
Yeah, you don't get to 35 points as the margin if both teams aren't doing their part in a game like that to make it that. So, like, I would say there wouldn't be, if they get past Oregon, then I don't think they lose to either team on the other side. I would call Oregon, Indiana the national championship game, de facto, if you will.
Oh, man. I don't know that Oregon is guaranteed to beat Miami. In the odds, very interestingly, at least on the sportsbook I'm looking at now, reflect it. Indiana is plus 130 to win it all. Okay. So they're almost even money. They're heavily kind of the top dog there. Miami and Oregon are basically both the same. Miami is 310, Oregon 320.
Right.
And then Ole Miss is plus 600. Like, that feels about right. I think my favorite value, you asked this of Rob Veno earlier, I think my favorite value is Miami.
Probably.
Because I feel most confident that Miami is going to win their upcoming game. And I think on their best day, they are as good as anybody.
I just think if Oregon gets past Indiana with the way they lost to them on their home turf earlier this season, then they feel like they've got the pathway to go. Now, maybe it means that they exhaust too much energy and then they get to it.
That'd be a conference game and a rematch.
That'd be 10 days later, though.
No, but that being a conference game and a rematch is something that, like, you put a lot of energy into that, obviously.
No,
not that you'll be so tuckered out 10 days later, but there's a feeling of, like, they will have accomplished something that, you know, kind of probably eats at them from earlier in the season. It could just be as simple as Miami, man. I don't know. Ohio State, we still thought was the best team. Even after they lost to Indiana, we're like, that was just weird. I don't know why.
Right.
They'll be fine. And then they weren't fine. Miami handled their business in a game that I was pretty sure Ohio State was going to come back and win. So I think Miami's good enough on both sides of the ball and has enough special players on both sides of the ball to be able to pull this off. And I feel pretty confident that they'll beat Ole Miss. But then again, I was pretty confident that Georgia would beat Ole Miss, and it didn't happen.
And Ole Miss, I mean, the way that Trinidad Chambliss, like, he is the best player on either team, if you ask me. Just the offense or defense on both rosters. I would take Trinidad Chambliss in my 1-1 of drafting players or whatever it is with the way he's been playing. And so that in and of itself just means that you should never count out Ole Miss if they have a got to have it drive to go down the field and get points. Then you have to think with the way that he's playing at the moment that he's going to do it. So, and then the defensive side of the ball, like, they're opportunistic. They're maybe not going to hold teams down to under 24 points, but they have the offense to hang in these games. And so
they can win the shootouts. They've shown
they
that
know
can
their
do that.
identity. And so I feel that that's as dangerous as anything. So, I mean, I would hope to see an Oregon Ole Miss, honestly. I would be fine with Indiana Ole Miss. But
I'm telling you, we're all going to turn on Indiana. It's not going to take long.
No, I know.
Oh, they always win.
Yeah.
They're too good.
Oh, man. Yeah, exactly.
They should get their national championship, and then we can all turn on them. That's totally fine.
That's good.
It may not matter, though. Signetti's as good as he appears to be. They might just win until he retires, which he is a little older than some coaches that would make their breakout, but yeah, he's going to be around a while.
I mean, but this is also an example of, like, okay, this actually has evened out a little more. NIL and the transfer portal have allowed schools like these to jump back into the fold and knock out the teams that have been here the last 2 or 3 decades.
If you do it right, if you understand the new way of doing things, they clearly do.
Yeah.
You're instantly on top if you've got the right people in charge, and they do.
So I would say I'll take Indiana still as I'll predict that it's going to be them.
They're going to win.
It's probably going to be them.
But Indiana Miami could be a really compelling final.
Right.
That would be my most compelling final, I think.
So call or text us with what you want to see in the college football playoff, 573-875-KTGR, as the semifinals will be Thursday and Friday of next week. The national championship will be January 19th. You'll hear that on KTGR. So I hope you join us for all of it. In the meantime, we'll talk some hoops next. Dennis Gates with some promising news on the injury front today. Will it make a difference tomorrow against the defending national champion? We'll get to that next.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Full tire service for trucks and autos, shocks, brakes, oil, lube, filter, wheel alignment. Our service is friendly and personal. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee's Tire Company is round for you. Woo, see Lee's.
Stop smoking with hypnosis. Only $59.99 guaranteed or your money back.
totally changed my life.
It's amazing.
I don't have any cravings.
You want to quit, but have found it impossible? This is the thing for you. I have absolutely no craving. It's the darndest thing I have ever seen in my life.
It's not for entertainment. It's for results.
Do it. It works. Period.
You've tried everything else. You need to come and try this.
Stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed. No irritability, no cravings. Because don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all. In addition, use hypnosis to lose all the weight and destroy unwanted cravings. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking hypnosis, 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-498-6548. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-498-6548. That's 800-498-6548. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
Another winter inside, looking at the snow in your yard that you can't write your name in because you didn't order your new deck from Crutch's Custom Exteriors in time. Don't look ahead to spring cleaning. You're ready for spring peeing and April showers with Freedom Stream powers off your new Crutch's deck. They can build your pee platform in the winter so it's ready for you to splash your autograph in any springtime snow that's left. CrutchesCustomExteriors.com. True beauty is on the outside.
Tired of calling Andy and Brendan? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
Call or text us with your CFP reactions. Also your reactions to Mizzou reportedly being the favorite to land Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons, who will plan to enter the transfer portal, according to Pete Thamel of ESPN, after Ole Miss finishes its playoff run, which is still going until at least after Thursday night when they take on Miami in the Fiesta Bowl. So after that, it would seem it will clear the way for Austin Simmons to join Mizzou through all the reporting, if it is to be believed, and we have no reason to think that it doesn't. But we'll see how that goes for Mizzou and how it affects the rest of the roster, because again, like that is a move that is maybe not splurging, but you still like Austin Simmons as a front runner to be your quarterback next year. Maybe it is a true competition, who knows, but Austin Simmons started SEC games last year, week 1, which meant that an SEC program out there thought that he was worthy of being the guy season long. And that means something. Right. So,
yeah. And even though they eventually, settled on a guy that has ultimately performed well, and one of the main reasons that they're where they are, that doesn't mean that, he didn't at least look close enough to better than that guy in camp that they said, hey, this is the guy that we want. So there's upside here. And maybe that's the difference for those who would draw the parallel and say, oh my gosh, it's the second year in a row we're taking a guy who was the backup on a CFP semifinal, and it didn't go as well as we had hoped the first time. Bo Prabula wasn't ever really going to start over Drew Aller.
No.
Like that wasn't anything that was in the cards. That's why he transferred out when he did. And like Austin Simmons did, at least. And I don't like put a ton of stock into that because ultimately like Chambliss is the better player. Seems pretty clear. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Austin Simmons is very far behind him. And at least for a month period in August seemed to be the guy. I don't really follow how closely was that a contest before the season. Obviously Simmons threw 5 interceptions in a couple games,
right,
or 4 interceptions in his first 2 games. And so he was, maybe some of the shine had left the way that the coaching staff viewed him based on some of the decisions he was making in games. But there's definitely something there to have Ole Miss feel as though, he was the guy to start the season with.
Because again, think about their actions as well, what they did before that season. They lose, that Jackson Dart leaves for the NFL, and they decide, you know what, we'll get this D2 guy and see if he's any good, but he's probably not our starter. We'll maybe give him a shot too if he impresses in camp, but we really like this freshman that we've got.
Yeah.
And like Mizzou, on the other hand, is choosing to not necessarily trust that. Now, Zowers was thrown into some situations that they did not plan to throw him into this year. And so maybe it made them learn a little more information than they would have wanted to learn at the time, but at least now they're better for it. They know what Zowers is at this point. Maybe another offseason changes that. But now they have the cover of, okay, if he doesn't make any kind of leap in the offseason, then we know that Austin Simmons was determined as an SEC starter during an offseason with a different SEC program. And everything that you hear about Austin, like you can get as plugged in as you need to be as Mizzou's staff to be able to know what he's about. It would seem that it's a good plan in place, even if they're done now. Like I think they very well could be. Maybe they do still go after another guy and add another one into the room. That would be a lot, but you have to build other pieces around this team first and foremost. Like that kind of gets put to the back burner, Brendan, I think, if you go after another transfer quarterback. So for me, I just kind of see it as, I think if you had to guess today, yeah, Austin Simmons is going to be starting against Arkansas Pine Bluff in late August or early September, whenever the game is.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's the way that this ends up going. Another interesting aspect of it is they've talked a lot about how he's already earned his bachelor's degree and is working on a master's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the AI overview is to be believed. You always have to be careful with that. But he is working on a master's in sport management. So there you go.
Okay.
We're that's the information that I have
saying
for you.
that you and I both got the same degree as he did?
I'm just saying we're basically the same as Austin Simmons.
Yeah.
The other thing is that I don't think we've said on the show yet today, but it matters from the perspective of you're kind of thinking about, okay, your offensive line. He is a left-handed quarterback. So,
yeah,
we talk about where's Caden Green going to play. Does he go
right tackle? No,
because you want to protect the blind side of your left-handed quarterback? I don't know.
But here's the thing.
Will be somewhere on that line.
You are going to have to, and this is, again, Mizzou has to spend big at other positions too, and they have to choose which positions they spend big at. I think right tackle has to be a position that you spend big at. Maybe you like some in-house options to compete for that job too. We shall see. But like Keegan Trost was awesome this year.
He has to be drafted moderately highly, I would think.
He was so good at the right tackle spot. I don't think Mizzou fans even fully realize how little they had to worry about that side of the line this year. But like that will be a major hole to fill. And do they decide to bring Caden Green on the other side? I hadn't thought of that angle, Brendan. That's interesting. But I would think you've already switched his position, a couple times already since he's been here. Like, let's keep him at one. Let's have him. Let's say that he's going to start at this position at the beginning of the offseason and not move him. Like, that'd be ideal, I think, for Caden Green, but I don't know. I'm not in that room.
Yeah, but he played well this year, so I think he'll handle whatever they throw at him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm intrigued because I do think there's upside with his arm, and like he likes to throw it downfield, and I think he could be a playmaker for you. the mistakes that he has made when it comes to turnovers is like a trait that you want to kind of get out of there a little bit. But, I don't think in this circumstance you were going to get like the perfect player for the perfect price. You know what I mean? You get a guy that you think you can develop into the guy that leads your offense and makes it more dynamic. Like, he can run the ball. I think when you look at Bo, he was able to run the ball, certainly, but they just had no downfield passing attack. You're bringing in your offensive coordinator. You're bringing in your quarterback that you're choosing from very early in this process, right? It's not like they waited around and had to go for their second choice or whatever. Like, it seems like pretty quickly they identified they want this guy and they are able to get on the same page with this guy. And so, I don't know. I feel like that's a plus in what this could turn into.
875 KTGR if you want to weigh in. All right, Mizzou basketball begins SEC play tomorrow. Dennis Gates said today that they expect Trent Pierce and Jaden Stone to return from injury. This would be Trent Pierce's season debut, I believe. He has not played an official game yet. Yeah. And Jaden Stone has played 6 games, but a hand injury kept him out for the rest of non-con play. And it seems that the week and a half off that Mizzou got, essentially over the holidays, helped to get him back into shape to where he can play tomorrow. Now we'll see how much they play. Who knows? But that's a plus. You get a little bit healthier. But you have no ramp-up time. That's the tough part. Mizzou's ramp-up time is over. Now you have to, if you want to talk about postseason, I think you need 10 wins out of the SEC schedule.
Yeah.
To be even considered, if you ask me. Maybe if you get like some really good wins down the line, the 9 could get you in. But like, who do you see Mizzou beating at this point?
No. You got to have a winning record in conference, I think, to get that kind of love. After your non-con, it was just completely flat.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about it and only bad about it. And I want to be clear about that. Dennis Gates, there was nothing good about your non-conference. Not one thing.
No.
We're not going to sit here and talk about, it still eats at me that he said after they were 9-2 that was, a good accomplishment or whatever he said. He was trying to dress up, put lipstick on the pig that was a 9-2 non-conference start when you lost the only games that mattered. And then, they ended up getting blitzed by Illinois. So nothing good to talk about from the non-con, and hopefully getting some talent back allows your season to start now and you go 10-8. I think that actually does help you, Andy, with the committee, because they would be able to look at your non-con and say, well, you didn't do anything. But then you say, yeah, I know, but we didn't have our team. Like, here, this is our actual team. Trent Pierce was back.
Sure.
Jaden Stone was back. I don't know if that flies. I don't know if that carries any weight, but I do think 10-8 in the SEC would carry enough weight. I don't see this team getting anywhere close to 10-8 in the SEC, but like, we're at least going to see the thing that we needed to see, which is getting guys back healthy to be able to facilitate that. This will be your best chance with both those guys out on the floor, hopefully.
They're projected, according to Ken Pom, to lose by 6 tomorrow at home against Florida. The problem with this, I mean, it's not only that Florida is the defending national champion, and they've looked good again this year. The AP's got them at 22. Ken Pom has them at 13 in the country. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. What is Mizzou? Mizzou just came off a game. I know it was a week and a half ago, but they scored 48 points, Brendan.
Yeah, they did do that.
48 points. There was no rhythm, no creativity. It seemed no life on offense. You can date it back to the other meaningful game, the other most recent meaningful game that Mizzou had played, which would be the Kansas game, where they only got to 60 points. Like, sure, they
I don't understand how Ken Pom still has them top 50 in offensive rating when we've seen what we've seen against two like decent teams.
They've got them at 45. I mean,
it's bizarre to me.
It is pretty head scratching at this point. So like if you are able to put up some points, if Jaden Stone makes that big of a difference, if Trent Pierce makes that big of a difference, puts players on the floor where they're supposed to be, helps you with your spacing, then maybe we do see a better offense that they were planning to have all along. And maybe that helps. But
and by the way, those two need to be playing among the most minutes of anybody on the floor. I don't need this notion of, yeah, we're going to ease them back, unless they really health-wise aren't ready to be getting that type
and
of
we'll
workload.
never know, right? Like, it's
but
just
talent-wise, I can tell you Mizzou's only chance is if these two guys are among your top 4 or 5 most talented contributors this year. You cannot have a world in which Trent Pierce comes back and it's like, yeah, you saw 8 minutes. He's kind of Anor Boateng-esque, and it's like, no, that if that's the case, the season's done. Like you're hinging a lot on, hey, the reason we've looked terrible is because we didn't have our guys, and now we've got more of our guys. And now we'll see. But, I mean, they've got to play. They got to play, and they got to play well, or it's probably going to be more difficult after tomorrow's game to, like, change my opinion on what to expect. I have very little expectations right now, Andy, but I will admit that because of the circumstances of getting 2 guys back, and one guy that you did think had a little bit of a spark as your 6th man, Jaden Stone, and a guy that at times last year, Trent Pierce, you liked what you saw out of him, not the consistency, but there were certainly moments where you really appreciated the way that he played. Like, that allows for me to say there's a lot of kind of wiggle room that can come out of this game. But if they look the same in this game as they have in the last two that mattered, then I would say I'm pretty cemented into my views and don't see a turnaround. But right now, it's like Christmas Eve. Hey, maybe there could be something under the tree that we're not expecting because we haven't seen all these guys play together yet. That's what we're holding out hope for, I think.
Call or text us, 875-KTGR. What's your prediction for Mizzou, Florida tomorrow? So who you got? What do you think?
I don't think it'll be a blowout where they score only 48 points. I think they'll put up a more respectable showing. You do get this one at home, which is a difference from both the games that disappointed us so much that were neutral site games against Kansas and Illinois. I'll say not quite as good as Ken Palm thinks it'll be, but more respectable. 81-71 Florida.
Mizzou defensively also needs to shape up. They just they have not looked good against the quality opponents they've had recently.
Yeah, I kind of went in the middle on whether you'd get that high scoring, like shootout type of game. Because I don't think Mizzou's offense is in a place right now where I could have said they're going to score much more than that 71 target. But like holding Florida to 81 is also, I kind of went in the middle.
Jaden Stone back in the mix will be helpful. I don't think it'll make them win, but they'll score more. 82-77 Florida is my pick.
Okay.
So we'll see. Coverage starts tomorrow at 7:00 here on KTGR, Mizzou, Florida. It's the Tigers take on the defending national champion. We'll see if they can get a shocker in their first SEC game. Picks of the week coming your way next. Will anybody take either side in that? We shall see. First college basketball games on the sheet, Brendan.
Now's your chance.
Yeah.
Come get me.
Yeah,
Come and get me.
We do need to ramp it up. That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Andy Humphrey. This Sports Center update is with Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee's sells it. Go to Lee'sTireCompany.com. Pete Thamel of ESPN reported today that Ole Miss quarterback Austin Simmons plans to enter the transfer portal per source, and he's entering with a no-contact tag with Missouri as the favorite to land him. Of course, Simmons was the starter at the beginning of the season for Ole Miss. He started 3 games, but came out of the Arkansas game due to injury. Trinidad Chambliss replaced him and looked very good in that backup duty, and so they stuck with him for the rest of the season. Simmons is expected to stay with Ole Miss through the college football playoff run for the Rebels. They defeated Georgia yesterday, so they'll play on Thursday night in the Fiesta Bowl against Miami. Meanwhile, Mizzou men's basketball opens SEC play tomorrow against Florida. Head coach Dennis Gates says that Trent Pierce and Jaden Stone will be available to play coming off of injury. Javon Porter, still injured, will not play tomorrow, according to Gates. 7:30 tip-off right here on KTGR. Mizzou women's basketball jumped out to a 17-5 lead against number 2 Texas last night, but Texas came back and won the game 89-71. Mizzou 12-4 overall. Mizzou women's hoops will take on Kentucky on Sunday. Now your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast.
I'm tracking clouds tonight, but sunshine returns tomorrow with mild temperatures right around 40 degrees. We stay seasonal this weekend with some clouds on Sunday. We'll still expect to warm into the mid-40s. jumping all the way to the 60s on Monday and Tuesday, about 20 degrees above average for January. We'll stay warm in the 50s next week with our next rain chances finally on the way by Thursday. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
The foundation is set.
Missouri knocks off the #1 team in the nation.
The frame is built.
On the run, Mitchell for the flush, Missouri by 20.
And the gates.
The habits, the response to detail, the execution, all that stuff matters.
Are open.
Drives right baseline to the rim, jams it as he hangs and got fouled.
This is your radio home for Mizzou basketball.
Cruz, here comes the three. Bang, he splashed it home.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Lose weight or stop smoking with hypnosis, guaranteed or your money back. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late-night eating binges, boredom eating, and stress eating. Also, stop smoking with hypnosis. Hypnosis Tuesday, February 3rd at the Capitol Plaza Hotel and Convention Center in Jefferson City, or Wednesday, February 4th at the Holiday Inn, Columbia East in Columbia. Weight loss hypnosis 5:30, stop smoking hypnosis 8 p.m. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
This is the year she gets an upgraded diamond. The year that dad finally gets his retirement watch. And the year that your daughter graduates. So you give her the necklace she's always dreamed of. Family Pawn is not your traditional pawn shop, but they are your secret to saving big on stunning jewelry for every occasion. Family Pawn, where you'll find timeless treasures for a fraction of the cost. FamilyPawn.com.
Not your traditional pawn shop. Family Pawn.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field.
Our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
On an all-new Dr. Bill, how old is too old to be sleeping with mom and dad when you're a bed bug?
We just can't do it anymore. He's almost an adult.
Now, I have to be honest here. You are truly one of the most wretched, disgusting, blood-sucking insects that we have ever had on this show.
I mean, yeah, I'm a bed bug.
Can Dr. Bill help this bug grow his wings and fly?
I mean, no. No, I'm a bed bug. We don't have wings.
You need to stop with the excuses.
Today at 4 on Dr. Bill.
Hi, I'm Steve with Steve's Pest Control. And if you ever have a bed bug problem, just call me at Steve's Pest Control. I've got the equipment, the experience, and a team of dedicated experts. If you want your bugs removed, eradicated, or just plain old-fashioned dead, we're going to solve your pest problem. I guarantee it.
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Okay, the limb is hanging over the driveway. I need this pruned.
Oh, call the electrician.
An electrician?
Yeah, or maybe your HVAC guy.
You've officially lost it. I need an expert in the right field.
Fine. Call that lawn company. They mow and prune.
Yeah, they also scalped your yard last summer.
When it comes to trees, trust the experts who actually know trees. Ones that are trained and educated for pruning, planting, and removals done right. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
We're moving faster and faster these days with limited time to make an impact on potential customers. Hi, this is Jimmy at Pro Design. For nearly 2 decades, we've worked with companies to build strong brands. At Pro Designs, our team can create a vehicle wrap to drive market share, growth, and profits. Connect with your customers on the go, on the road, and on the job site.
Visit us on the web at PRODEZIGNS.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the big show on KTGR.
Here we go, picks of the week time. We were without our silly little game for funsies last week, but here we are once again, picks of the week with Andy, Brendan, and producer Natalie will make her debut on the picks of the week.
Hello,
Natalie, you ready?
hello,
Are you
I
ready
am.
for this? She's ready. All right.
Rock and roll.
Here we go. And ready for college basketball, would seem, because we're putting that on the sheet for the first time on the Picks of the Week season. Brendan, I know, is not ready for that.
No, because I really liked how the football season went for me when it came to picks of the week. So I'm nervous, honestly.
So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, let's check the standings. I won in the previous week that we did, which was 2 weeks ago. 4 in 1 week for me. Brendan went 3 and 2. Producers, that's actually 1 and they were 2 and 3. I put 1 and 4 there as a mistake.
Okay.
Give
them an extra win.
Yeah, they're 2 and 3 last week. They are still second. I am still last. In the season standings, Brendan still has a commanding lead. But that's just the cushion that he had to build to prepare for college basketball season.
I know, where I have no clue.
We'll see how that goes. And so I'm going to throw it even more on Brendan. I will say that he goes first in this one. I'll go second. Producer Natalie, sorry, you're going to have to go last here.
That's okay.
Okay. All right. But here we go. SEC games in college basketball are available to be picked. Some NFL get most of the slate. It's on there.
You've got the meaningful ones on there, I assume. Yeah.
And then one of the semifinals next week in the CFP, the one that's on Thursday night, Miami Ole Miss. We'll have the other one on Friday night because we'll have picks of the week on Friday. So there we go.
This is easy then. I'm going to go Miami minus the 3.5 because I'm going to avoid basketball like the plague while I can.
Okay.
I think they're gonna blow them out. Yeah.
Okay. I'll say the Bears beat the Lions by at least 3. Bears minus 3 is my first pick there.
Okay.
They still are playing for seeding, although they could kind of decide which seed they want a little bit.
Yeah.
If they want to be behind the Eagles. I don't think they'll play it that way totally, but I'll say the Bears minus 3 is the pick.
All right, I'm gonna go Alabama minus 5.5. Kentucky at Alabama. I just think Alabama's stronger at the home court, so I'm going to go with the Crimson Tide for this one.
The first one to dip their toe into college hoops, Brendan. She goes Alabama.
I don't like that spread, though. I almost want to fade.
Ooh, boy. Okay.
Would it be because she's a first-timer that I wouldn't fade her? Because if it were anybody else, if Billy's sitting there, I mean, I'm probably just going for the straight fade. Let's just go for it. Kentucky plus 5.5. I'm going right for the jugular in the first week of Natalie's inclusion.
Gotcha. By the way, if you're seeing on your sheet any numbers that aren't there, you can ask me. I have the numbers. We just didn't have them by the time that they So during our picks of the week here on the Big Show, KTGR. I'm going to fade Brendan. I'm going to go Ole Miss plus 3.5. I don't know if they win, but I think it could be a field goal game. And I like
fun to root for, certainly too.
So I'm gonna take that one. All right, producers.
I'm going to stay in the college basketball realm. I'm going to go Tennessee at Arkansas. I'm going to go minus 1.5 Tennessee. I think a tight matchup.
So you want Tennessee?
I want Tennessee.
So you actually get a 1.5 on that one.
Plus 1.5. I'm going to go Tennessee there.
She knows that now she's got extra value for it. So there you go. That should be a very interesting game there too. Ranked matchup.
I'm not going to fade that pick. I think that one's a real toss-up. Mizzou is getting 7.5. Ken Pom said it was a 6-point game, and yet I just don't. I'm going to fade Mizzou. I hope I'm wrong. I'll be rooting for this pick to lose, but Florida minus 7.5. I predicted them win by 10, so I mean it matches what I predicted for my final score. So I will take the Gators reluctantly.
Okay, doing our picks of the week here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Oh, man. I think I'm going to dip my toe into one of the Saturday NFL games here. I think I'm going to go with the Seahawks, minus 2.5.
That's a good pick.
I think that's the right side. 49ers could very easily win that game at home, but yeah. All right.
The defense is the issue there.
For sure. Producers, round 3.
All right. I'm from Texas, so I'm going to also go in NFL. I'm going to go Texans. Minus 10.
Hey,
that's actually correct as well.
I think that's
Houston
correct
is hot
also.
in the playoffs right now, and I just think the Colts are out of it.
And the division's not out of the reach for the Texans either, so they're going to be playing straight up. So
Riley Leonard will be starting, but I think that's the right call.
All right, Brendan.
Now I regret not taking some NFL stuff earlier because he took a good one there. I'm gonna channel producer Grant here. Steelers plus 4. Something tells me it's just going to be an ugly game.
Okay.
And I think the Ravens probably win it, but 4's too many. If it was a field goal, I wouldn't touch it. Steelers plus 4.
Interesting. Yeah, but you're probably right. South Carolina can't be that bad, right? I know Vanderbilt's really good, but 15.5 is a big spread. It's a lot of points to take at home for South Carolina. I'll take them. I might be making a complete fool of myself. These are two mismatched teams, it would seem, the way they've looked. But I'll take the points, plus 15.5 for South Carolina. Go ahead, Natalie.
All right, I didn't get to chime in on Mizzou and Florida earlier, but I'm going to have to go Florida plus 7.5.
Oh, no. Brendan already took it.
Okay, then I'll follow right behind with Mississippi State at Texas.
Okay, she was ready for the backup.
I'm going to go Texas.
Oh, okay.
Minus 5.5.
Minus 9.5 is
or
the
9.5.
9.5 is the number.
Yeah.
That was one that wasn't on there. So you're
Not
still
a
like
fan
Texas?
of Texas.
Still like Texas?
I'm
on
going to
that?
go Texas, even though I'm not a fan.
Okay. All right.
Texas minus 9.5 is on the sheet. And then we got one more round here. I will wrap up my picks this week with no, I'm not going to look at those basketball games. I don't love anything that's still out there for football, but the Broncos minus 12.5. They need to win to just solidify the 1 seed. And Trey Lance is starting on the other side. The Chargers are sitting people. So Broncos minus 12.5.
That's probably right. Okay. Show me something, Mizzou. Come on. Do something. Let's come on.
Go, Andy.
Someone
honestly,
needed to do it. Someone needed to believe. Plus, I don't know if they win the game, but I picked 82-77. That would cover. All right. So I'll say Mizzou plus 7.5. Show me something.
There we go. Can I get the number for LSU and A&M?
A&M minus 2.
I'm gonna go an upset. I'm gonna go LSU plus 3.
LSU plus, no, we have to take plus 2.
Or plus 2.
Plus 2.
Got it.
All right.
I'm going LSU, though.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Going against my Texas roots, though.
Hey, I mean, I've done it time and again. But there you go. Those are our picks of the week. Lock them in. First college basketball week. And look, we both had multiple ones, it seemed, in the college basketball side. So, Brendan,
I'm going to say, Andy, I didn't fade you, but I think Vanderbilt rolls.
Okay.
That's the one that I think you're going to miss.
No, I mean, they probably will. I just saw a bunch of points there, and they looked nice to me. We'll
Thought
see.
They were tasty.
Exactly.
No.
I remember the holiday week and all the feasts we had. So there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Bowl coverage up next. Duke's Mayo Bowl coming up in an hour. Stay tuned for that. He's Brendan. She's producer Natalie. I'm Andy. We're done for now.
Hi, my name's Robin Fletcher. I've smoked for 46